Hey, my name is Antonio. I also go by Tony, and this is my video for Module Three's assignment for critical race theory. So I'm kind of just gonna read off the questions that I have on the screen right next to me. So if I'm like kind of looking over, that's why I'm doing that. Um, so we're talking about the racial identity theory introduced in Module 2 and how it can help examine and understand your own racial identity development. And I think that happens by it breaking down the different stages of racial identity development within the different racial groups. Like, for example, they had a section if you were African American, that these are the typical stages that you would go through the development. If you were Asian, here is the typical stages: biracial, white, Caucasian, etc. So the next question is, what informed my racial identity? And I feel like my racial identity was developed pretty early. I think my first recollection had to be when I was in the first grade. I went to an all-black school in Atlanta, Georgia, and my teacher kind of sat us down and explained to us how all of our ancestors in the room were slaves and had that uncomfortable conversation with us. Then to, introduce the topic to us, because at that point, a lot of us didn't even know what slaves were, or that's what even happened back then. And yeah, I think it was pretty important to have the uncomfortable conversation at that early of life, because like I said, my parents, and I'm pretty sure the majority of the other children's parents in the room, didn't have that conversation with us. So yeah, let's move into the next question. What is the role of race in framing your racial identity? And I think the role of race in framing your racial identity is really just the what did I say it was? It was the classification. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. It was the classification of it. So just being able to know where you lie within the racial the racial identity development theory will help you pick and choose which one will best identify with you. So next, we're moving on to describing a time where I witnessed institutionalized racism, and I'm just gonna talk about experiences I've had at a previous job. I was working at an acute psychiatric hospital, and me and a coworker had a disagreement. I was giving, I forgot what it's called. It's shift report. It's where you explain how the shift went and how the client's behaviors, if they took their meds, etc. And the unit I was working on, we had the same 4 clients for like 6 months, and nothing really changed. Like, they were just waiting for housing. So, I was kind of making a joke how everything's the same as yesterday, and my coworker got upset, and he had called me out of my name. He called me a punk, so it got a little intense. And I basically walked out the room before anything crazy happened, but a middle-aged white lady that worked there was around the corner, wasn't even in the room to fully understand what was going on. And she basically labeled me as the angry black man of the office, and, took it up to HR, and the company basically believed everything the lady that was saying that wasn't even there before doing a thorough investigation. So I had to basically advocate for myself and tell them to check the cameras, because there's cameras everywhere. And after they checked the cameras, they kind of saw that what the lady reported didn't happen, and the company kind of went into like apology mode and was like very like, I'm so sorry. Is there anything we can do to fix this? This psychosocial stage of life that I was at, I was an early adult. I was 22. And at that age, connection building is really important. And I felt like I failed at life at that point because, I'm at work, and 1, I got into this argument with a coworker, and 2, now my job thinks I'm an angry black man. So I just thought that, I was doing everything incorrectly, and that I needed to like start over, find a new job, probably move and kind of just clean slate it. But after I was proven innocent, I just felt more confident about the situation, and kind of like shook it off, because I avoided it because I didn't want to like revisit that trauma. And if I was to redo that event, if that was to happen again, I definitely would have changed everything. I wouldn't knowing what I know now, I probably would have sued the company. So one action that I took from what's the name of it? It was the Critical Race Theories, Opportunities for Application in Social Work Practices and Policy. I chose the one that was Critique of Liberalism, if I said that right. And basically what that promotes is like color blindness and equity. And I felt like if I had that happen to me, you know, like I wouldn't have been painted as the angry black man. It probably would have just been viewed as a misunderstanding, and me and the company would have been able to talk it out and, you know, do it better than what happened. Because I felt like I was unfairly treated and, you know, racially profiled for being an angry black man. And I was the talk of the office. It was really embarrassing. People were coming up to me, like, trying to get information. And in the moment, I kind of wish that it got physical, because at that point, if I'm about to be labeled as the angry black man, I might as well have acted on it. But, you know, I'm glad that I was at least responsible enough to walk away and, you know, handle it, even though it took months to get resolved. But yeah, that's my presentation. Thanks for listening.